Apart from the new campaign finance rules and what that means, is there anything about this election and its candidates and what we're seeing so far that seems at all unusual or different from other elections in previous years?
Right. The rise of the independent.
Right.
Now, part of this is because Vision's brand is perceived to be, for some, poisonous, but even for someone like Shauna Sylvester, who previously was on the Vision board, it's not so much the brand, is that in a sense they've exhausted themselves, and there's another role for the mayor to play. She's articulated it the most, but I think they're all more or less saying this. You're going to need someone who can bring people together. Even within my own party, there's going to be more diverse voices. It's a more diverse city. And it's very likely to be maybe a council, I don't know how likely, but it's probable that we could, for the first time in a long time, have truly a council without a core majority.
Well, not only without a majority, I mean, it seems pretty likely there may not be a majority on council, but there could be as many as, 4 or 5 different affiliations on there, maybe even more. I don't know.
That's exactly it. We've never really had that situation before.
Ever? Yeah. I mean,
this is a unique election.
Yeah.
Now, you have to kind of divide Vancouver history to the late 30s when the parties arose, when we changed from ward to at-large.
Right.
That's when the NPA, the Nonpartisan Association, emerged.
Right.
It was a nonpartisan in the sense of the Liberals and the Conservatives put aside their allegiance to try and keep the Socialists, the CCF, out of office.
The socialist hordes at bay.
And it worked. It worked great.
Well, they lost the first time, didn't they? The first time after this, I was talking to Sam Sullivan about this a while ago, and he gave me a bit of a history lesson that when the NPA first came together was in 39 or whatever, and then the problem they had at that time was that, I guess, a failed candidate for the mayoral nomination decided to go off on his own and took his own supporters to run against the NPA candidate. And they split the vote that way. And
great story. Didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what Sam was at.
Yeah, so here we are. And we got a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
And we have the incumbent mayor's not running. And most of council's not running.
Yeah.
Right? And now you've got these independents who are emerging, more or less saying, well, explicitly saying, I'm the person who can bring people together because we're going to have to operate now increasingly with people who, if they're not a member of a council running as an independent, or even are a party that is, it's going to take a lot of work. Mike Harcourt had to do that with his council split between COPE and the NDP, and it's not easy. Very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I wonder would there be something good about having a council with that kind of diversity, or is it going to make it impossible to get anything done?
Both.
Yeah.
It's an easy response, isn't it?
Yeah.
In some cases it will be possible to construct the needed majority because, you'll have a general agreement, you'll count the numbers. But the personal fractiousness that occurs and the kind of poisonous environment that can lead to, people get tired of that real fast. They say they want more independent voices. They don't like the idea, for instance, of being duty-bound to the party. But that's what allows you to govern.
Right. I remember I was talking to Adrienne Carr last year about this. She's the only Green on council. You got a Vision majority and an NPA minority, and then Adrienne's the only Green. And she commented to me when we were talking that increasingly, this was during right after a really contentious council session where the Vision councillors were getting into it with the NPA councillors and a lot point of order and this, and it was quite contentious. And I was chatting with Adrienne afterwards, and she said, yeah, it really seems like it's just escalating and it's getting more intense and more combative, and it's not really supposed to be like the provincial government, a legislature where you've got a government in power and an opposition. From her perspective, she said, a council is supposed to be a council of equals.
Who wrote that down? Show me that in writing.
I guess it's because each has one vote. I mean, the mayor has the same number of votes as any other member of council.
Well, that's why the party system arranged.
Right.
And indeed, one way or the other, that will happen. This idea that the independents will all function independently, won't caucus, won't get together to work out what they can all... And so they then will be branded. You will do that, Dan. I can guarantee it. It will be your job to give them a name.
Right.
And it'll be a party and everything, but, it'll even have a name.
Right.
So that'll happen pretty quick.
Okay.
It's just essential for governance.
But, I mean, are they going to stick together as closely as, the Vision councillors stick together? Now, it's pretty rare when, Vision councillors vote different ways on different things, or the NPA.
Yeah, well,
we've seen it happen a few times recently, but
no, they are well known for really hewing to.
Yeah.
Now the NPA, on the other hand, because we had the luxury of a majority, we had our debates within caucus.
Sure.
And then we knew how we were going to vote when we went in. But it did give us the opportunity, if we wished to depart from what the rest had agreed on, knowing that the vote would nonetheless pass. A little cynical. Only a little. You were still able to make your position clear. You were going to lose anyway, but we wouldn't go into council not knowing. There was one or two examples, and it didn't turn out well. Sam, likewise, ran into that almost immediately, where the majority of his council voted against his position, and that took some time to recover. And the NPA had meetings on that, recognizing that this is not a viable way to continue. If the mayor in particular, who really will be seen legitimately as a, quote, leader, even if he only has one vote, doesn't have the support of his caucus, that's tremendous loss, a real undermining of authority.
Right. I mean, did that have something to do with why Sullivan wasn't able to run for re-election, like why he lost the party's nomination? Were there a bunch of things going on?
I would say probably not. I think that emerges because those nomination meetings are, as we always know, contentious, and that's indeed a very legitimate place, and we'll see this with the NPA again, for determining the direction of the party.